the charge. It's been above 5% for 2 years now, right? Just 23 months to be specific. 23 months to be specific, above 5%. Went above 9% for a period of time. The Fed keeps raising interest rates. Doesn't bring it down too much. The cost of groceries. And once things go up, do they ever come back down really? No, not really. Your spending power just gets eroded. Biggest increase in Social Security ever because of all of this. And yet, the Democrats would have you believe it's going swimmingly well. And the Inflation Reduction Act, basically a financial disaster for America, is now estimated to cost three times more than the first estimate. Yeah, trillions of dollars, because it'll get revised up and up and up. Listen to this. We'll talk about it on the other side.
I wanted to ask you about the Inflation Reduction Act. The Penn-Wharton budget model just came out, which I realize you probably haven't seen, but it released new cost estimates, previously saying that it would cost $385 billion over 10 years. The new estimate, based on implementation details for the climate provision, is now more than $1 trillion over 10 years. Is government spending a concern for this president?
So look, the higher score reflects, and I did see this report, the higher score reflects that the Joint Committee on Taxation assumption that the Inflation Reduction Act will spur more manufacturing projects and more clean energy deployment than when JCT originally scored the bill. That is a good thing. It means more private sector investments, more American manufacturing, more jobs, more secure supply chains, and lower costs for American families thanks to cutting-edge technologies. Even with the new score, the Inflation Reduction Act still reduces the deficit over the long run. As you know, I know you follow this very closely outside of the 10 years, right, because it looks at it in a decade. The Inflation Reduction Act increasingly reduces the deficit as time passes, including that second decade, as I was just mentioning, and beyond. So moreover, a number of experts have said that the CBO likely underestimated the deficit reduction from the Inflation Reduction Act's crackdown on rich tax cheats. An expert from the Treasury Department, two former IRS commissioners, and Treasury secretaries say the law's provision to make the wealthy pay what they already owe will reduce the deficit by more, even hundreds of billions more than CBO estimates.
Rich tax cheats. And let me explain something so that maybe she'll understand next time. Reducing the deficit at this point is relatively meaningless. It is relatively meaningless. Until you reduce the deficit into negative territory and start reducing the actual debt, it doesn't get better. It gets worse every year. The future becomes more risky every year because you have piled up more debt. And the Republicans, by a vote of 217 to 215, sent a plan to the Senate to increase the debt limit by another $1.5 trillion, which will take it to $33 trillion. And it just grows and grows. The deficit, so what? It's just how much you're adding to the debt. Until you start reducing the debt, what difference does it make? Yes,